What's going on, guys, and welcome to October's episode of Game of the Month, the show where we pick a game at random every month, and at the end of the month, we talk about it. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And I'm Chris.
And a couple quick reminders, we're moving into November, so make sure to download and play Hollow Knight and Shadow of War, both off for free on PlayStation Plus. Make sure to download those, play those, come back at the end of November. We're going to talk about that on Plus Club, and if you have a PS5, you're going to be able to download Bug Snacks on PS5 on PlayStation Plus as well. That's not going to be the main focus of that episode, but if I get a chance to play it, we will talk about it. We also just talked about Need for Speed Payback and Vampire on this month's episode of Plus Club that just came out yesterday, so if you want to check that out, join the conversation, you can do that. We had a lot to say about those games. But before we talk about Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen, we have to pick a game for November, randomly picked. So we're going to do that right now. I have a random generator right now. It is going between 1 and 18, which is the amount of games we have on the list. We need to grow that list again. We got to add some more games. Randomly hitting the button, and 3, 2, 1, and 12. So the game we are playing is Cube World.
I'm glad for an easier game.
We're playing Cubwub. Fucking goddamn, that's finally getting pulled, huh?
Yeah.
All right, so in November, we'll be playing Cubwub. What do you guys think?
I mean, I already kind of said it. With the Plus games being like big games, it'll be nice to play something that ends when you want it to end. So
when that game first came out, I went fucking hard on it, and I got to, I think, like level 100 and like 70 or some shit.
Something like that, yeah.
It was crazy number. I'm not going to do that this time. But I also have read that they've changed a lot about the game, and I guess it feels more like an MMO and less like what it used to feel like. People are like, bring back the old game. So that's kind of scary.
Interesting.
But with that, we're going to play and we're going to talk about it. So I'm excited to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Chris?
I just want to ride my peacock again.
Yeah. We all want to ride your peacock again.
Oh, my.
There's plenty of room. It's a big peacock.
It was like the size of a fucking ostrich. It was really fucking weird.
Yeah. I hope that it still has, because I know people were complaining about something that kind of made me think that it might have took this out. But before, every time you leveled up your gear, you got one little block that you got to add to your gear. Mm-hmm. So eventually you got to change the way it looked. So I had a sword that I kept adding the pieces to make it bigger and bigger and bigger. So I just had this huge, giant fucking blade, which I thought was a really cool system. It's a voxel-based game, everything's squared, so that every time you level up, you get to add and customize your weapon visually. That was a really fucking cool thing.
Yeah,
so
I really liked that.
Hopefully they kept that. Even when you got like special, I think it was like special charms or whatever, that had different colors, you got to put that still on your weapon. So it was a pretty cool system. Yeah, so I'm excited to try that. Again, coming back, especially, we played the prior version. We're going to play the newer version. So we're going to have, when the game was dead, now it came back. So anything else, guys, I want to say on that?
It's fortuitous that we got that. So
yeah, because we got Hollow Knight, Shadow of War, I got Bug Snacks, and then Cubwub to play in November. It's going to be a busy month.
Games to beat before we do Game of the Year.
God, yeah.
Luckily, Cyberpunk got pushed back again. So I get to dodge that game as much as I don't want to.
Yeah, did we decide that's going in next year?
No, we haven't.
Oh, okay.
I haven't even thought about it yet.
I know, Jeff Keighley said that it's in next year's show now. So
I kind of feel like I should put it in the running for Game of the Year of 2021, just because it's so late in the year.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fuck, we'll discuss it. We'll give you guys an official thing on that, because that was gonna be probably, I've been predicting for a while that was gonna be my Game of the Year. Of course, that doesn't matter if I play and I'm like, this is not Game of the Year, but I feel like to give it a fair shot, I need to be able to put time into it. So,
yeah, and it's coming out like mid-December.
Yeah, we'll look into it. We'll discuss and see what's best for it, because it might not be fair to put it in the running. But yeah, playing Cubwub in November. So make sure to play that, and we will talk about that as well. We have a Discord link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us. And you can support the channel by watching this video all the way through. Liking the comment helps the channel a lot. Subscribe. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers. Really trying to hit that before the end of the year. So if you can tell your friends, maybe somebody who's interested in these kind of long-form conversations about gaming that, don't exist in this way, I guess, tell them to subscribe to Tasty Loot Gaming. And if you're already subscribed, dope. And then we have a Patreon, link down below as well if you'd like to support the channel even further. Okay, so before we talk about Dragon's Dogma, Dark Arisen, I am going to explain how your guys' pick for Game of the Month in December is going to work. So last year, got to be clear, last year, this is the rules for last year, just so you guys know what we did if you weren't here for that. We let you guys for 2 months straight. It's a long fucking 2 months, specifically for me because I had to tally these votes. Let you guys vote once per video, and every video I would tally the votes of what game you wanted us to play in December, and then eventually whoever had the most votes was the first place, and then so on and so forth, up to the top 3 most voted games we picked, or you guys picked, we played, and then the second and third game, the runners-up, made it onto our list. So we've actually played one of those games.
Yes.
That made it to our list. So, and then we have a third one from last year that's still on the list and will not leave the list. Yeah. So this year we're gonna kind of condense the process. Something that I kind of flirted with last year, we're gonna try this year. So starting on this episode in November and every episode in November, only in November, you get to vote once per video. How you do that is you type in GOTM for Game of the Month. Can be before or after, doesn't matter. Just type in GOTM, Game of the Month, next to whatever game you're voting for. You get to vote once per video. So I'm going to be tallying again throughout the whole month all the games you guys say for Game of the Month. The way this is going to work, though, is if you're in first to third place, you will be in the running to randomly be picked. So maybe you can be a little more casual about it. You're like, I'm going to keep voting. I'm kind of in first place. Oh, I dropped down to second place. You're still in the running. You still have a chance to get your game picked. But staying in first place, you're kind of guaranteed to stay there. So there's a competitive aspect to it. All you have to do is keep voting, and the top 3 will be thrown in the hat and randomly picked. If you don't want to vote, that's fine. If one person votes, they're going to fucking get their game picked. If 3 people vote, you guys all have an equal chance. And then, of course, the 2 runner-ups will be thrown onto our list, so your game eventually will get played anyway. So, yeah, it's up to you guys. You guys get to vote throughout November, and then in December, we will play whatever you guys pick. So, you guys can work together. Some people did that last year. You can just stay and vote on every single video to make sure your game has the best chance of being picked. And yeah, the reason I wanted to do it random is because last year I got to kind of see what game was definitely going to win, and it did, and I think it was Sea of Thieves, which was fun. Was cool to come back and play that. And this can be any game, whether we've played it on Game of the Month already, Plus Club, whatever game you guys want us to play, we will play in December. But the random aspect to it, I think will be more fun for us as well, because we'll get to roll 1 through 3, and we'll all find out together what the game for December will be. So to kind of repeat everything in a more tighter form, you get to vote once per video throughout November. All those votes are going to get tallied up at the end of November in Game of the Month. I will be taking all those, putting the top 3 most voted games into a randomizer, and we will all find out together what is the Game of the Month for December that you guys picked, and then the last 2 runner-ups will be thrown on the list for later. So clear enough?
Yes.
That makes sense? I said a lot of words.
So GOTM, game once per video in November.
And it can be in your comment or a separate comment. I don't care. Just type in GOTM wherever the hell next to a game name. Even if you're just bitching about a game and you accidentally type GOTM next to them, I'm going to count that as a vote. So just put GOTM next to a game, and it will be tallied instantly, and I will start putting little check marks next to ones that keep getting repeated in the comments. So the choice is yours, and I'm excited to find out what you guys pick. If no one picks anything, which I don't see happening, like fucking bass fishing, wherever the hell, or if that'll make a comeback, then we'll just pick a game. So in
the unlikeliness that nobody picks something, because someone's gonna type something, they have to. But
Cyberpunk, GOTM.
I mean, there's 3 of us. We can always just each pick a game, throw those in a hat.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, could definitely do that. So up to you guys. All right, let's talk about Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. So if you didn't get a chance to play Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, The Dark Arisen version is the PS4 PC redone version, I believe, with the extended content. It is a third-person action RPG where you are the chosen one, essentially, and you go on a mystical journey across the lands, fighting many different foes in pretty advanced combat for a game like this, where you're able to grab enemies, hang off of flying enemies, throw people, do a lot of more complicated moves. And you're accompanied by your pawn and rook, which are, one of them is a player-made character. You could also upload and download other people's pawns, I believe. I didn't do that this time around. And yeah, it's a pretty visceral action RPG. A lot of stuff going on in this. A lot of open world action. We all played it, and yeah, let's start with Chris. What were your impressions of Dragon's Dogma?
Okay, well, I have the original Dragon's Dogma on 360, so I had a little experience going into this, but it's been so long, it's just wiped from my memory. So hopping in, the character creation it's your typical character creation for these types of games. It's got sliders, it's got 400 different selections for ears for some reason, and about 20 haircuts. You get 3 starting classes, the basics. I went in with the idea of maybe I could make a spear character, or ultimately I wanted to do a spear and shield character. The spears don't even exist in this game. I was kind of I wasn't holding out too much because most games don't have spears in them for some fucking reason, even though they're the most primitive weapon that's existed, the spear. But that being said, get into the game, and it's very neutral in color tone, which is not a bad thing. It sets the atmosphere for the game. It's very European in stylization, but graphically it is very dated feeling. Even the updated version, the character models are very old looking. And then you get into the world itself, and the world is very, very large, but empty feeling. You have a pack of enemies that always spawn in the same spot every time. It's always the same fucking enemies, but there's a mile between you and the next pack of enemies. And then there's a mile and a half between you and the next pack of enemies. And there's 10 miles between you and the next fucking city, which normally in games is cool because it's grand feeling. It's neat, but it's just empty and lifeless in this world. And the problem I had was travel. And there's no fast travel system between these 900-mile distance cities. You have to fucking walk the terrain between each fucking city. And in the initial walk would be fine. Walk from this city to that city. That's fine. But afterwards, give me a fast travel system. There is not one implemented in the game.
You know what your
literally have
problem
to
was?
walk.
You should have just thrown some low roar and just put a balancing system in the game while you're carrying some boxes, and you'd think about it differently. You'd be like, oh, this walk ain't so bad. It's all about the journey. That's all it's missing. Just some nice melodic music, beautiful scenery.
Oh, yeah,
You and your friends, you and your BB. Perfect.
Just
As soon as you're talking about just walking vast distances, all I was thinking was Death Stranding did it fine, but that's literally what they were doing. That's what the point of the game was.
Also hate the way I play Ghost of Tsushima then.
Maybe.
Maybe I will.
I don't use the horse, so.
Oh.
What?
Jesus.
Huh?
Show doesn't like vehicles.
I don't like
And by
vehicles. In
vehicles,
games.
I
walk
mean
everywhere.
animals as well.
Huh.
Yep. So
All right.
Chris is disappointed.
When I need to get across, I will fast travel if I'm doing a mission. But if I'm just looking for things, I just go wander.
No fucking wonder you haven't beaten that game yet.
Fucking A. Jesus.
It's taking me a while, but I'm on that horse all the time. I'm like,
Only when
ride
they
like
force-
the wind.
Only when they force me to. So.
All right, sorry for that distraction.
It's fine. It's fine. There are 9 classes in total, which they're interesting classes. I will give them the credit to that. They are a unique mixture of the initial 3 classes and kind of aspects of those thrown together. So there's the melee, there's the agility class, so bows or daggers, and there's the magic class, and they have an interesting way of they intersect with each other, but combat just feels, to me, feels very bland. You get abilities, you can customize how your abilities are. You have, buttons that you can activate them with and preset those however you want. But it just overall was just very meh to me, unfortunately. The blandness of the world being so vast and empty and just time consuming just getting from point to point really just kind of threw me off. And then it felt very directionless. Like,
Oh yeah.
here's 9 quests to do.
Yep.
Good luck. And I found myself wandering, and I got lost in the woods in the middle of the fucking night with 2 ogres attacking me, which were very high level compared to my characters. So I had to fucking cheese them because the AI was bad.
Yeah.
I got on a cliff where they couldn't get to, and I just kind of threw shit at them for hours.
Yeah, and to be fair, and you were kind of mentioned this a little bit. I was looking up something recently that had to do with the game, and I saw a video of gameplay for this game from like 8 years ago. I was like, holy shit, I forgot this game's been out for that long. So a lot of those systems that kind of don't work as well, they are of their time. Although back then, I would argue people still had like directions and stuff like that figured out. And I like a game that's really immersive, that doesn't rely too much on, bring up Ghost of Tsushima again. They have an interesting way to tell you what way to go without being
super intuitive.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And I miss games like Morrowind, where it's like, oh, you got to go down the road to Balmora and take a left and go west.
And run into things that can just murder you.
Yeah, I like that too. But this game in particular, I remember when I first played it, I think one of the big reasons I stopped playing it back then is because I had a mission and it was so fucking vague, and the game didn't have much in way of like direction, and I want to look it up, that I was like, I don't know what to fucking do. This is like crazy. That's not a common thing for me to run into. So when you're saying that, I think it's probably one of the biggest weaknesses of this game. Some of the missions is like go to the circle. It's like, okay, that's cool. But other times it's like, there's a thing that happened out in that field over there somewhere. I'm like, what? Which field? I'm just out there looking. I'm like, you mean here? Like miles away? Where am I going? What do you want me to do? And then you run into some shit, and you're like, what the fuck am I doing in this area? Am I supposed to be here? It's just frustrating. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I found some fucking church in the middle of these haunted ass woods, and just a bunch of nuns.
That's the worst.
Just like, hi, welcome. How's it going? I'm like, there's like undead everywhere outside, like everywhere, and you're just in a church in the middle of these fucking
Just
ass
vibing,
woods.
dude.
Just, hey, what's up? How's it going?
It's like right in the beginning. I was this month. I was playing on PS4 like a year ago, pretty heavily, and then recently when we did this this month when we pulled the game, I bought it for PC because it was on sale, and so I had to start from the beginning again. And doing that beginning mission, which I think is the footage you guys are seeing in the corner, you do that escort of the fucking the Hydra head. And that takes like fucking 20 minutes. I filmed it. It took 20 minutes to make that walk. And I was like, this is a real journey. This is fucking real shit. But in that time, you run into fucking bandits. You run into wild dogs. You run into harpies. You run into
Lots of
goblins.
harpies.
At the very end in the dark, there was a zombie just standing out in the dark outside the castle wall. I'm like, this place is fucking riddled with things that will kill the fuck out of you. Holy shit. Like, you can't live in this world. Everything, it will kill you. It's worse than Australia.
Unless you travel with an army.
And that army barely fucking made it. Everyone's just like, just like half dead when we got there. I'm like, you just call an Uber next time. Holy shit, this is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. It's so time consuming to play in this game. That's the problem with me. For this game, it's like I spend hours playing games. The same game, hours on end, but this feels like a chore to me. It's just, okay, I have to do all this. Like, just the cart mission took for fucking ever. And if the game was entertaining, it wouldn't feel like it took forever. It would be enjoyable. I'd feel like, oh, it's over already. Well, all right, here we go. The thing I will give this game credit for that I like is the grapple system where you're climbing on larger monsters. It's such a cool idea that's implemented very poorly because the controls around those things are awful, and you cannot make any progress unless you have like 8,000 stamina. It's just frustrating.
Yeah, stamina is kind of a bitch in that game, and I'm sure you can fucking get up to a point where it's not. But like, It's weird because the combat, in my opinion, and the systems in place are complicated, but they also come at a cost in their complication to the controls, where I don't think are intuitive, and I feel like somebody could have made them better. I felt that way on console. Felt that when I first played it on whenever the fuck it came out originally on Sega, and playing on PC. Although I have to give them credit outside of the resolution problems that me and Joey both fucking ran into, which were really annoying. I think the game plays fucking great on PC. I was pleasantly surprised. I was kind of worried about the mouse feeling a little loose, maybe floaty, and it's sharp. It's very accurate, and I really appreciated that. But the controls are not preferable. I had to rearrange a couple things because I was like, who the hell designed this?
Yeah, I didn't even want to bother. I used the 360 controller.
Yeah, once I changed them around, which was fucking annoying because there's a lot of buttons that do a lot of different things. I have like 3 buttons that fucking pull my bow out, and I'm like, why? They're like, why is there so many buttons that fucking do this? I had to like rearrange shit, and once I got it down, I'm like, okay, this feels good finally. But it is encumbersome
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I could go on and on about things I had issues with this game, but I don't want to take up the whole time.
All right. Well, I'm going to start off saying you broke my heart talking about the combat, 'cause that's one of my favorite things about this game. I love the combat. It is dated now for sure, but I still play it, and all I can think of is I need a Dragon's Dogma 2. I need a fucking brand new Dragon's Dogma because this game has so many cool ideas that fucking one. I remember when I played the demo of this game before it came out, back when demos existed, and I played. I was like, holy shit, this is like a fantasy RPG, but it's got like solid ass dope combat of like an action game. Some really inventive ideas. It's another Capcom game where you fight big things in more ways than just shooting it, like Monster Hunter World or Monster Hunter in general, but Monster Hunter World in particular because you can fucking, clutch claw onto the things and do all sorts of stuff. Fucking Lost Planet 2, there's a lot of like going into monsters, climbing fucking monsters, shooting with huge crazy weapons. It's another Capcom game where you can run up and there's a heartbeat, you can jump, grab its legs and steer in the air with it while people are like grabbing enemies and you're beating the shit out of them. There's a lot going on, and when you're fighting, I think the thing that they were trying to nail back in the day, and I think they did it, it's just old feeling now, is they're going for kind of that Lord of the Rings epic cinematic fight where everybody's fighting and everyone's yelling to each other, and there's all these things that are happening where somebody's over here and they grab an enemy and it's trying to zoom into it so to make it feel cinematic, like the pawn you made is like fucking helping in the battle. People are casting spells and stuff like that, and I still really appreciate it. It is annoying when I'm drawing my bow to go shoot something and it zooms in on a guy, and then in the background I see my person drop their bow and pull their sword out and start swinging it, and I'm like, what are you doing? That's my guy's just like, I don't know what's happening. Why am I not being focused on? I'm the hero. But I still really like it. When you're in the middle of a battle, it feels like there's an actual fight happening. Where people are hitting their shields and doing all sorts of shit, and it's neat. I really like the combat. It is kind of stiff feeling now, but I like options in any game. When you fight a boss, people have bitched about this a lot in FPSs. When it's a boss and they just have a lot of health and you just unload in them till they die, I can handle that, but it's boring. But like, if you give me a lot of ways to go about that fight, I'm gonna bring up Ghost of Tsushima again because we've just been playing it a lot lately. Ghost of Tsushima gives you a lot of options on how to kill enemies. You can stealth in, you can just walk in, fucking big balls, come at me, bro, and just fight everybody. There's a lot of stuff you can do there. I got a blow dart gun that can kill things instantly. The other people can, just poison them, but I can go toot and they just drop instantly. A lot of options. I like options. So in Dragon's Dogma, I like the variants of abilities, different ways to go about a fight. I ran up and grabbed a dude and just threw him off a fucking cliff, just because I was like, "You gotta go," and I just like bounced him out of there.
Chris was watching me play a little bit, and people would run towards like something I had to protect. I'd literally just grab them, walk away with them, and be like, "Over here."
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean the biggest thing this game's missing is like dope ass ragdoll That would have been perfect. I
that,
would
yeah.
love this combat system with some cool fucking ragdoll. There's this game, I'm bringing up other games for some reason. Might and Magic Dark Messiah. Old game. Is off the like Half-Life 2 engine, I believe. It was cool because it was like a first-person game where you leveled up and you could start turning into a mage or into a warrior, all sorts of shit. But it had like physics that Half-Life had, so you could like kick dudes into like fucking spikes. You could lob a fireball, and the fireball would throw people into shit, and they'd ragdoll. I loved it, and I would have loved that if this game had something like that, because the combat's already kind of advanced anyway. You can do a lot of different things. It'd be cool to get that visceral impact to hits, but it is an older game. It is dated, so. Every time I talk about this game, I'm always like, it's fucking dope. If only it had these things, it would be perfect. It'd be such a cool game if it had a couple things, like better pacing, better directions and where to go. Combat is really cool, but it just has a couple things with it that makes it be fully realized. Multiplayer. This game needs multiplayer. It's a multiplayer game with no multiplayer. Just like when Battlefront 2 came out, it was a free-to-play game that was $60. It's weird when you play these games, you're like, why'd you make a multiplayer game that doesn't have multiplayer? What'd you do that for? That's every time I play Dragon's Dogma, I'm like, why is this pawn not somebody I'm playing with? That's so weird. Someone could just play that person. They could
still
just
have the pawn system for people who don't want to play with people.
Exactly. Keep that. Great idea. I love it. But then, like, maybe you're playing your character and I can load you in and now you're my pawn and you get to still level and get stuff and go back to your game. That would have been fucking awesome. So, again, I want Dragon's Dogma 2 and I want you to do exactly what I want you to do. That's just what I'm trying to say.
Make my
here.
game.
Yeah,
right?
make your game. 85% is your game. And the other fucking 100% is my game. Just do what I want. It'd be such a good game. Going back to this game, dated parts aside, I'm just going to throw that out there. It is dated in some ways. I actually like the way the game still looks. When this game came out, I thought it looked pretty bad. Like when I saw the original Dark Souls, atmospherically, very good looking. I fucking love it. But it's not the best graphically. If we're talking about technical graphics. And if you want to argue that, go look at the character creator. It's fucking awful. Things look real basic. Same thing with this game. This game is very simple looking, but I feel like they made it, when it came out, like that on purpose because of the amount of enemies on screen at once, the amount of more advanced animations that were happening with people grabbing things, throwing things around, making sure you stay at least 30 frames per second.
It's a give or take for sure.
Explosions, fireballs flying around, stuff like that. I think they did it because it's an open world game and they're trying to make it run smooth. So I think when the graphics aren't that great, they owned it. I think the game on purpose, like a Nintendo game, worked in those parameters to make a game look really good. And I think to this day, I think it still translates pretty well. It owns its graphics. I think it's a really clean looking game. Just the textures aren't the best. The animation's a little stiff, but everything across the board is like that. There is not like, well, that character looks good, but that character looks like shit. It all looks the same. They went into it knowing their limitations and they worked with it. And I think it still looks, I think it has a charming look to it. Not to mention, it's so obviously inspired by Berserk. It's crazy. Just like Dark Souls. More than Dark Souls. This game looks like Berserk, the world. One of the character presets for the face is guts. It literally is him. It's his face. It's his haircut. You can have a fucking scar across your eye just like him. There's armor that makes it look like guts. They absolutely were inspired by Berserk, which is a big thing for me because I love Berserk. So, I can appreciate that. So, of course, the world, I like the way the world looks. I like that dark European fantasy horror vibe that the game has. I like that nighttime is fucking pitch black. I love shit like that in games. I hate it in games when it's dark and you don't need a flashlight or night vision and then they give it to you. I'm like, why? It's fucking as bright as day. Just everything has a blue tint to it, dark blue tint to it. It just kind of looks like it's darker out, but it's like light as fuck. So anyway, visually, I like the way the game looks. It does look dated, but I like it. And I like the visual styling, the atmosphere, all that stuff. Voice acting, music is all pretty forgettable, honestly. The theme song's awful. I hate it. Every time I start that game up, it goes just like, and I'm just like, shut up, dude. Like, this isn't even good. Yeah, like the combat. I like the story. I've never beaten this game, but I've gotten pretty far into it the prior time that I played it. Like the boss battles. I really dig this game. I just feel like there's so many little things that it isn't doing that it should have to make this game just like absolutely legendary. I already kind of feel like it is. It has a strong fan base. You look this game up, people fucking love it, and I like it a lot too. But I know people who love this game too, so it's definitely got a strong following. But I feel like this game could have hit the potential it wanted to hit, and the reason we don't have Dragon's Dogma 2 is because it didn't hit that, because it didn't do all the little extra things it should have done. There's like a couple tweaks they could have done to this game to just make it absolutely a fucking must-own, must-play game. But I also think it's underrated as well. I think when it comes to fantasy action RPGs, it should be up there with all the big ones. I think it should be a franchise. So I'm really holding out for a sequel. But yeah, playing it this month was cool. I feel the same as I did when I played it originally. Looks way better on PC. Plays way better on PC. There's mods for it, and like graphics and stuff like that you can add to it that makes the game look better. I watched a video showing before and after of it. I kind of want to download that because it's actually pretty impressive visually the way they changed it. So, but I didn't want to do that for the show because it would have altered the original game, and I'd be like, hey, my modded version of Dragon's Dogma was great.
Right.
You guys played the unmodded version, and that's why you don't like it. So yeah, I'll just throw it over to you.
I mean, really, you kind of said a lot of things I feel about the game as well.
Especially the resolution.
Well, yeah. So yeah, first thing, I booted up the game, and like the bottom of the screen, a little bit of the right of the screen were off my monitor, even though it was supposedly in my resolution. And just so you guys are aware, me and Seth both use a 21:9 monitor,
Ultra wide.
Yeah. So I'm pretty used to games like not supporting it, but they usually will just default to 16:9 and put black bars on the side. I'm totally fine with that. This game was just like, no, we'll do it, but it's just gonna be too big. So all your accept buttons and stuff like that are off the screen. So when I'm trying to switch the resolution so it'll fit on my screen, I don't know what button to push to hit accept. So
yeah, the game is just like, oh, ultra wide fan, and it just throws it on your screen. It's like, how do I accept this resolution? Oh, just hit accept. I can't see it.
Yeah,
it's not on the screen.
I can't see it.
What
I can't
button
click
is
on
it?
Because it's not like a mouse thing. It's a button I have to push. So I can't read it, and it's not a traditional button either. It's like
it's backspace.
Yeah, it's the backspace button. That's your accept button.
Weird. That's how you accept your resolution.
So
I hit every button on my keyboard just trying to guess, and I started doing other things. I'm like, I need to stop doing that. I looked it up, and people were like, have you tried it in backspace? That's the accept button. And someone's like, oh, really? And I was like, that's what it is?
Yeah, it's a weird choice. So
fucking crazy.
That is a ding, straight up. Like, if I can't even like see the game properly and
Dragon's Dingma.
If I can't like get it like the option settings that I need to work on my PC, because unlike a console, every PC is different. I have to be able to get into the settings. So
soon every Xbox will be different.
Yeah, but they'll still auto work for their
Series A through Z.
So that being said, getting the game, it is an older game. We've all said that. So like I just have that understanding, and I'm just gonna let things slide in that regard. So character creation was actually more robust than I was expecting it to be for, you said 8 years old, an old game.
That YouTube video is 8 years old.
So
this shit could be fucking 20.
I do think it's weird there's so many options for ears. That's a weird one, especially because like they barely change. And then like there's not a lot of options for other things. So it was a really weird mixture there.
I can appreciate the ears because I'm very particular about ears. But the ears that I'm particular on are always in every game ever. So you could have like, a third of those ear selections, and I probably would have found the ears I like.
Well, and it wasn't even like a lot of games where they do it where they're like, okay, they're really against the head, they're a little bit out, they're way out, they're up, they're down. Like this was like they're like unnoticeably a little bigger, and then a little bit bigger, and I was just like, okay, these are completely unnecessary. Like you could have saved some memory and not had all these ears.
Yeah, save some time on that design for ears and put some multiplayer in the game.
Or even just, more like face options, for example.
They're in
Because
the
more people are going to care about your like the face itself than the ears being marginally.
they're sitting around the fucking planning table and they're like, okay, so we got two things on the agenda. People are saying we want multiplayer, but also Jeff wants ears, more ear options. And then he's like, yeah, we need more ears. People are going to be really upset if we don't have those. Multiplayer would be fun. It would be fun, but what if they don't have the right ears? We need to work. We need to put the work in. Like, okay,
You know what they
fine.
could have done with all that data they could have saved, making the ears a little simpler. A fucking indicator that says your physical weight of your character indicates how much weight you can carry in the game.
Though I do agree that that probably should be stated. I kind of like when games have little hidden things about them like that. So, but that's obviously a personal preference. I mean, like Final Fantasy 11 was full of that kind of stuff where the game didn't tell you. You just learned through player interactions and stuff like that. So, it is admittedly not good game design. So, yeah, started the game. I also like the tone of the world. I don't think the colors really bother me as much either, but that, once again, playing games like Final Fantasy 11 and Final Fantasy 14, where they are a little more neutral and muted colors, I like that. So, it makes it feel a little more real. I like the pawn system. I think it's really neat. I actually really like it. I like the ability to borrow the people. This one thing, we talked about this before, as much as Call of Duty Ghosts is like an awful game, the bot mode where you get to make your own characters and like
Squads.
and make them have mannerisms similar to your own and stuff like that. I really like that, and this game has a system kind of like that. Like the adventures you go on, your pawn goes to someone else's game, and because they have literally experienced it, they can provide tips and hints to that other player because they've been there already. They've experienced it before, and I think that kind of stuff's really neat. And if they ever were to make a new game, I would love that system to be completely expanded.
Yeah, and really just emphasizing again, I would love to see that your main character be able to be used as a pawn somewhere else, whether you're playing it or not. But also, that's not saying get rid of the pawn system. I like the pawn system.
Yeah.
Your friend's not always on.
Yeah.
So, I think it'd just be a really cool, again, options. It'd be so cool to just be like, oh, you're on, fucking, I'm going to summon you over and you can be my pawn. Oh, you're not on, well, I'm going to summon over your pawn or your character. And that'll be my pawn. Like, that would be such a cool system.
It would be. And then I'm going to agree, obviously, with the multiplayer aspect, because this game feels like it should be a multiplayer game, especially with the amount of stuff that is happening in combat.
It is a multiplayer game.
You
just can't connect.
It's already set up to be that. I do think for the time the game came out, the combat is crazy advanced for the amount of stuff you can do. Like, being able to swing up, for example. Like, honestly, games still don't do that, really.
I remember when I first played, I was like, you can swing up? That's weird.
Yeah.
Like, you're just like, but then sometimes it comes in hand, like, oh, okay. Like
harpies.
Yeah.
Being able to climb on things and like go for weak points, stuff like that. I think that's really fun too. I think there's a lot of the game's just packed full of ideas, right?
Yep.
Tons of ideas. And it's got all the things there to like have like this rich, deep world and lore and stuff like that. It's just nothing in the game's presented to you at 100% of what it could be. Mm-hmm. And it's really unfortunate because there is a reason I can't like sit down and just keep playing it. It's because it doesn't like do anything 100%. So I'm always like, I really appreciate this, but I kind of wish this, and I really appreciate this, but I wish this too. So like, I really think that if they were to make a new one, if they took the way like open world games work for now, for example, with these modern systems, but kept the really crazy ideas of combat, like being able to have options and classes and the cross class system and stuff like that, or advanced class system it has and stuff like that, add multiplayer. I think they could make this absolutely amazing game that would be hard for people to compete with, to be honest. There's so much choice.
They've built more than the foundation for that game to exist.
Yeah.
It's almost already there.
Yeah.
They just didn't go all in.
Yeah, and I don't want this to sound like I don't like the game. I actually have a lot of appreciation for the game, and I do enjoy it. I just can't like commit time to it because besides a couple systems in the game, I can find those things in other games that I want to play more right now, which kind of sucks because I think the game if I sat down and I just like gave it like enough time to like get through it and like get some more stuff unlocked and whatnot, I'd probably find myself enjoying it more. But you know, a good example is like I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima right now, like they're all of us here right now, and I just find myself wandering around and enjoying the journey. I could do that in Dragon's Dogma as well. It's just not as smooth of a process, and so like, which one do I pick? Well, I think this one does it better. So I'm gonna go over
That
here.
is kind of the factor there, is with all the things that are great about Dragon's Dogma, you could play a game that's more modern and a smoother experience, a less janky experience. And I feel like that's a pretty big incentive. It's going to pull you more because you're going to be like, I could play Dragon's Dogma and kind of struggle through some of the parts of that game, or I can play a game where I'm getting that fucking just instant gratification feedback of every time I play it, I'm just getting new stuff and fucking it plays great and there's nothing wrong with it, blah, blah, blah. And so it's easier to kind of like lean over into, you know, something more current, I guess.
Well, for sure, and even in the combat sense, like I could play another Capcom game, Monster Hunter, and like have a blast fighting giant monsters. So like,
Oh, that's funny. Fucking, I have a huge appreciation for Lost Planet 2. And when we played it last, I feel like we all kind of did. Because Lost Planet 2 is like a solid-ass game with multiplayer, does everything it needs to do. It has some jank to it, though, in its systems, and its controls are fucking stupid.
yeah, but the multiplayer makes it more appealing to be able to sit down and deal with.
I have zero interest in playing Lost Planet 2 single player.
That's what I'm saying.
Ever.
And if Dragon's Dogma had multiplayer, I feel like we'd be having a different conversation.
We would have been playing it all month.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I guarantee we would have been playing it all month.
Yeah. So I mean, but that all that being said, I do think it is a good game. I think it has amazing foundation to make more games. Capcom just isn't doing it, and I have a feeling a large part of that is like there's not a loud enough demand for it. So I don't know. I overall, I mean, I enjoyed myself. I have a lot of wishes after playing this game. So
Yeah. Me too. But it's really because like I can see the potential of the game. I can
packed full of it.
I can see where it could be and what it could do. Just a couple extra things extra, and it would have been fucking gigantic. I mean, Monster Hunter. We've all been playing Monster Hunter for a long time, and it's always had a cult following. Monster Hunter World's huge now. Like I know people who never even knew what the fuck Monster Hunter was, and they're like experts on Monster Hunter World now. Like they played the shit out of it, and they're like, "Oh, I know everything about it." And it's just wild. Like they just did the right fucking. The formula is the fucking same. It's Monster Hunter. They just nailed every aspect of it. They pushed it a little further forward in every way, streamlined it in some ways, while maintaining a lot of the things that respect the prior games. And it resonated. It sold fucking crazy. People love it. People are going to buy the next Monster Hunter World or whatever they do next.
yeah, they won't even have to try.
No, they just got to tell people it's coming and people are going to fucking buy it.
For sure.
They did it. Dragon's Dogma could do that easily. I don't know why Capcom has this legacy of making games that some people are like, that's a pretty solid game. Is it? Yeah, it's pretty good. And then, don't fully realize their games. Lost Planet. I remember when the first Lost Planet came out, people were like, what the fuck game is this? This is dope. And Lost Planet 2 came out, people liked it, and then they fucked up with Lost Planet 3, but I'm like, why aren't you making another one now? That series could be huge. Just like fucking Dragon's Dogma. Like it's
Especially with the way they're
frustrating.
making games now, I would love to see them revisit some old
Capcom's
stuff.
been knocking it out of the fucking park for years now. Just aside from Street Fighter, and the people like Street Fighter, I know some of you guys fucking love the newer Street Fighter, so I guess they are knocking it out of the park for some people. But there's some other games I think you can't make a case against them. I mean, Monster Hunter World is just doing fucking fantastic. The new Devil May Cry did great.
Yep.
It's just everything they've been making lately has been awesome. The Resident Evils
Evil.
they've been making are awesome. Goddamn, a fucking Dragon's Dogma 2 on the RE engine would be sick. Lost Planet, fucking reboot it.
Just
Reboot Lost
start
Planet.
over, yeah.
Don't continue it. Just make the first Lost Planet like the story, but update the way the game plays. Don't remake that game. Just take the story, make a new version, reboot it, and continue from there. But there's Capcom makes all these games with great potential.
Yeah.
And right now, it's like I remember back in the day when Square Enix was having like a hard time and they're making shit game after shit game, and people are like, "I just want Final Fantasy VII remake." I'm like, "Not right now, not right now. Don't fucking tell them to do it right now
touch it
because
right now, yeah.
they're making garbage right now. So if you want to if you want to fucking hate them forever, ask them to make Final Fantasy VII right now."
Look what they did to Parasite Eve.
And exactly, and they didn't do it.
Ooh.
Thank you. and then they made Final Fantasy VII Remake now when they've been knocking out of the park, and it's great. So Capcom, this is the window. Do it. You guys kind of flubbed it a little bit with fucking Resident Evil 3. I know a lot of people are unhappy with that. I think it's fine. Resident Evil 2, though, amazing. So fucking, yeah. Make Dragon's Dogma 2 now.
I'm not a big Resident Evil person, but I don't think Resident Evil 3 was, there was a lot to pull from there anyways, so.
Well, I wasn't a fan of the original at all, so I think it was the weakest of the original games. But this newer one's funny. I played it a little bit. I haven't beaten it. I guess you can beat it in like 6 hours, so I just need to just do that. But I played it. It's fine. But I know a lot of people who really don't like it. Like, they really fucking don't like it. I'm like, okay, so you get to experience what I experienced back when Resident Evil 3 came out. Okay, cool. We get to trade places. That's fine. You get to feel my pain.
Recommendations then?
Yeah. You guys have anything else to say when it came to your experience with the game?
No. I mean, I feel like I said, you said mostly what I was thinking, and I kind of emphasized some things.
Sure.
So.
Okay, let's jump into recommendations. Anybody want to go first?
Sure. If you like, I hesitate to say medieval, but medieval style games where you get to just kind of wander and go on an adventure. That's what this game is. You know, obviously it's fantasy. If you want, or if you like games that kind of emphasize almost like a D&D feel as well, where you form a party and you go out. It's the same kind of thing here too, especially with the pawn system, and then being able to borrow other people's pawns, so your party can actually be different all the time. If you like combat systems that have a lot of choices and options, like we brought up already, you can crawl on things. You can get up to the head, start hitting them there. You can aim up. You can charge forward. You can swing and jump back. It's got a lot of choice in the combat, and I'm not even talking about ranged and magic at this point. This is just physical. I would say totally give this a shot. It's a role-playing game, so if you like Western RPGs, definitely check it out. Old Capcom games, it is straight up, it's a Capcom game when you play it, you can tell. So I don't know how else to explain that, but would also be another recommendation I would give. So.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything said. Just real quick, third-person action RPGs, Western-made ones, even though it's a Japanese game, it feels more like a Western RPG. That's definitely what they're going for if you're into those. I feel like it's definitely a must-check out. I'm not going to be like, you have to play this, but you should definitely look into it. If you like third-person action games, not even the RPG part, it's the combat it does not play like an RPG. It just has the RPG systems, but it's definitely, I think this is why it resonated with so many people, is because the combat is so actiony that it's I feel like a lot of people can play this game as long as you know where the fuck you're going and can decipher directions well enough. If you like games with big, bold Lord of the Rings style adventures where you're going with your party, you kind of said with the D&D thing, Death Stranding, when Chris was describing it, made me think of Death Stranding. Let's see, what else? If you like games where you can import things that your friends are doing into your game, I know I'm being vague in that way, but there's just games that do that kind of thing, like, oh, look what your friend's doing in his game or her game or whatever the hell. The pawn system, it allows you to bring something over from somebody else, and I think it's really cool. If you like Berserk, you'll appreciate the way this game looks. If you like big battles with big bosses and stuff like that, you might dig this game. So loosely, if you like Monster Hunter, no, not even loosely. If you like Monster Hunter, you might dig this game just because it's a Capcom game. You are in a party of people fighting big monsters. It just doesn't have the same systems as Monster Hunter.
Or the multiplayer.
No multiplayer. Needs that multiplayer. If you like games that should have multiplayer but don't, this is the game. This is the one game on the planet that you should be playing if that's your thing for some reason. I just love games that feel like multiplayer games but aren't. This is that game. If you like high medieval fantasy, this is definitely there. There's something else I was going to add, but I completely forgot. Even if you like fighting games in a weird way, I'd say play this because it has a pretty advanced combat system that's a little intricate. I don't know. I couldn't recommend it to everybody, but I can't recommend it really to anyone who likes third-person action games. You could give it a go and probably enjoy it. Chris?
The only thing I could add would be if you want to be like Chevy and Forrest Gump your way across the country, then you might enjoy this.
Yeah, it doesn't give you the option for the horse. So for Chevy's in heaven, he's like, great. I don't have to ride a fucking animal. That's awesome. But the rest of us are like,
I watched him grapple the face of that fucking ox for half that journey. All right.
That was just ridiculous. The escort quest.
that was the first thing I did.
Yeah, I just got on the ox's face. I was like, all right, cool, let's go.
The first time I played the game, that's what I did. I just jumped on the ox. I'm like, all right, I'm set. That thing moves so fucking slow. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I want to talk about Ghost of Tsushima real quick. That game, escorting, is at the same pace you're moving.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple games have done that. It's a revolution that that everybody should be doing in their games. You should be able to set the pace for playability reasons. If you want to walk and talk, cool. But if I want to run and talk, let me do it. Yeah. I've never bitched about the escort parts of Ghost of Tsushima because of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Fuck. I had a goddamn. This game's better than Skyrim. I said it. Sorry. Chris does not agree. That's not a recommendation. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I'd probably have to agree, actually. It's more interesting combat-wise. So.
Yeah, Skyrim's too fucking bland. It's too vanilla. It's like eating just white bread by itself. That's Skyrim.
I thought we were trying to hit 2,000 subs by the end of the month.
Yeah. We're going to go right back down to 1,000. You're like, what the fuck are these people asking me to subscribe to? Yeah, anything else?
No.
Chevy, grade it.
So yeah, I kind of said before, I'm just going to emphasize now before I give them a grade, is this game is chock full of ideas. I think
it's jank, but good jank.
They could make an absolutely amazing sequel to this game, or even a reboot of this game with newer systems. Seems to be a Capcom thing we're wishing for here. So the problem is that I just don't think it's 100% on anything. So with that in mind, and realizing it is an older game, and please add multiplayer, I'm gonna give it a B-. I think it's up there. I think it's a good game. It needs more. I don't know how else to say it. So
B-.
Yes,
I agree with you. Pretty much anything you said. Chris.
Well, I'm just not gonna play this again. To be honest, I'll probably never touch it again.
Your face is telling me everything. Like, how do I say this? How do I put this lightly? I'm never gonna touch this fucking thing again.
Yeah, no, I probably will never play this game again. If they do make a sequel, it'd be great. But I hope they change a lot of systems in it, though. But it's not a bad game. It's playable. It's just a little vacant for me, and there's too much half-baked ideas in it. So I'm gonna give it a C-.
Whoa, that's fucking almost D territory. That's funny.
Yeah.
So B-, C-. That's fair. I don't know if I wanna complete that minus trifecta. I'm gonna go B+. I really like this fucking game a lot. I love a lot of things it does, and all the things that it doesn't do are a disappointment, but it's just because of how much I like the game. I really want those features. That's why I'm so adamant. That's why prior to this episode, I've talked about this game many times, about a game that I really want a sequel from, and I really want to be great, because it has all the makings of a great game. So it's really easy for me to give B+. I was gonna give it an A-, but I don't love the game. I like it a lot. But I don't love it because it's just missing some of those things. Also, the story is pretty fucking meh. So, like, if you had like an impactful story, it would pop it up to a fucking A easily for me. But chosen one storylines never really do much for me. It's pretty fucking. I don't even dislike them. I'm just like, okay, that's what it is. Okay, I'm the best. I'll be the best. Cool. But yeah, great ideas, full of ideas specifically for the time. I can look past the graphics. I think they were really very. They knew what they're doing with the graphics. You can tell. It seems like it. And yeah, enjoy the combat, enjoy the world. It's got its flaws. My biggest complaint being the way it goes about telling you where to go on quests. I think that could be fixed, and maybe there's a mod for that. And if there is, I will be downloading that next time I play the game, because it's something I definitely need. But yeah, B+, easy. Like I said, I could have maybe went A-, but I saved that for games that really fucking hit me. So this doesn't. It's just fucking dope. It's a dope ass game. You heard it here. Fucking Dragon's Dogma is a dope ass fucking game.
-1.
-1, yeah. Yeah, that's fair though. I mean, a lot of episodes were all like, "Yeah, I agree." Yeah,
no,
I agree.
I actually I appreciate that, you know, Chris felt the way he did, and instead of going like, "Oh, they like it, I should probably go a little higher." So
What they call on Twitter a hater. He doesn't hate it because of anything in the game. He just hates.
I don't know if I'd call C- hating, but
He's a hater. Well,
I just despise it. Everything. It being everything. Just hate. Just I am rage.
you're the Dark Arisen that they're talking
Raw.
about. Showing up to give that game a C-.
did you both play male characters?
Yes.
Oh, female.
Were you? Oh, so you got to experience the dragon getting a little too personal with you as well.
Yeah.
What?
For no reason.
In the beginning, when it takes your heart,
He touched my boobs.
your shirt literally is split like this,
Oh, weird.
and I was like, "Oh my!" So yeah, I was like, "That dragon is just getting a little too frisky."
No, I made guts. My guy looks like guts.
I mean, that makes
Which
sense.
which takes me out of the game, because anytime I can make guts in a game, I'm like, that's guts.
I mean, I made
Is that the main character of this game? No, this is the main character from Berserk. He's just in the game.
That's how I made Gordon Ramsay and Ion. So
Yeah, I still remember that guy. That was Jordan Ramsay. That's his fucking cousin. Anything else? B-, C-, B+. Let us know in the comments, what did you guys think of Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen? Have you played it? Have you not played it? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Where do you stand if you're in kind of the middle? What are some of the features you enjoy and the features you don't enjoy? Do you think it's a little dated? Did you play this back in the day and love it? Is there stuff that you think it's missing? Do you agree? Do you think it needs multiplayer? You should, because it needs fucking multiplayer. Even if you don't play multiplayer, it needs it. Just say yes. It just needs that multiplayer. And do you want a sequel? If you want a sequel, what would you want from that sequel? And grade the bitch if you so choose to. We got a lot of varied grades here, so you just got a whole playground of fucking grades you can give it. But that's going to do it for this episode of Game of the Month. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook at Tasty Loot Gaming. Check out our Discord, link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms. If you prefer to listen to us, you can support the channel by liking this video, commenting on this video, and subscribing and telling your friends to subscribe. We're almost at 2,000 subscribers. Let's hit that before the end of the year. And we got a Patreon. Link down below. You can support the channel even further if you want to do that. And also type in on this video and all the videos in November, GOTM, whatever game you want us to play. Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, perhaps, in December. Make Chris play it again.
Don't you fucking do it.
Don't fucking do it. Cyberpunk, maybe?
you're just trying to make that month easy.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be a huge favor from the community. Like, we got your back, Seth. Thank you. And yeah, type in GOTM on your comment. Also, type in hashtag STLG and say that at the beginning of the episode on your comment if you want to be considered on this upcoming Tasty Cast. We have one already we'll be reading. Somebody did it, so they will be guaranteed to be read and responded to on that segment. Otherwise, we pick a random. My name's Seth.
Hi, Chevy.
And I'm Chris.
Until the next episode, which is Tasty Tuesday, have a good night, guys. Couple days, and take it easy.